Hey guys, Chara5 here, and today we are finishing Doll Week with Billy the Doll from the movie Dead Silence. So, if you'll remember, I said last time that we're ending with kind of a classic, and by that I meant more so in the imagery than in the actual character itself, because I don't really know that I can call Dead Silence a classic horror film. But the imagery, like if you see Billy the Doll, or Billy the Dummy, you know instantly that there's a trope, you know, like I think that this story is something that has been sort of done to death in the sense that I do like this story, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's been done to death in the sense that this is just the standard version of the talking dummy, because that's the point of dummies, you know, or ventriloquist dummies at least. You make them talk yourself, and then they come to life, and nobody believes you because, oh, it's supposed to, you know, it's just you being a really good ventriloquist and all that. And I feel like if you saw this character, you'd probably even think of the what was his name, Spanky from Goosebumps. Which is, I think, the first time I ever saw the talking dummy trope. When it comes to the talking doll, of course, Chucky was the first, but the talking dummy, I think, is a kind of a separate thing, because what do they really do? Like, when it comes to violence and when it comes to, you know, horror, I think all they really have up their sleeve is that they're creepy. Not that they're violent or that they've killed anybody, but just that, you know, them being rude and mean-spirited. It's something that's been seen in so many medium. I actually just remembered that there's a very similar looking character. Oh god, so many series and like TV shows and movies have used a very similar design. Again, which is why I say that he's so iconic. Like, for example, I can remember Alf, which is a show from the 80s. If you haven't seen it, you probably haven't, but if you haven't, I think you should. It is a very fun series from the 80s, which in and of itself was already using a dummy type character. He has to he doesn't have many friends or many hobbies because he's an alien, so he can't really go out at all. So he gets this dummy, and the dummy kind of starts taking over. Like, he's only active while Alf has him with him, but then he starts like getting a mind of his own. And I feel like that's done every time a talking ventriloquist dummy is involved. Like, again, Goosebumps did it, and I think R.L. Stine even made a sequel to that story. I think it was like one of the only sequels he ever made, something like that. I know Two and a Half Men did that too. Like, it was a very almost identical like storyline, or just for the sake of a joke, where it's like, okay, no one's controlling the dummy, ha ha ha, he's being like really rude, and it's usually used as a device to say things that you don't want to say out loud, and you can just blame it on the dummy and be like, oh no, it was him. And you know what? Honestly, in a way, after doing Annabelle, because Annabelle might have been a byproduct of another legend, Robert the Talking Doll. I actually found out about Robert the Talking Doll. Well, I don't even know if he was a talking doll. All I just know was that he was a doll, Robert the Doll. They're actually making a movie about him, too. I find it strange that they're just now making a movie about Robert, because he was like the very first supernatural doll, and like kind of the father of all these other talking dolls, inadvertently, mind you, because he's like the real world example of it. And you have Talking Tina from the Twilight Zone, and you know, all those different things inspired all these talking dolls. You know, Chucky and his byproducts, Annabelle, all that stuff. I just realized I'm not ending Doll Week today. That ends tomorrow. What the hell am I talking about? Sorry. No, we're ending Doll Week tomorrow. Sorry. So we're about to end Doll Week. I don't know why I just remembered that. Anyway, I guess to talk a little bit about Dead Silence, the movie. I've only ever seen the movie once. It was back when I was living in Mexico. My sister, as you may or may not know, I think I have mentioned it before, she loves horror. Much like my dad. And, you know, if ever she has a chance to watch a horror movie, she'll watch that above anything else, any other genre. even if the movie is completely awful. And she was the one that suggested we watch it, because I think she might have seen it before. I don't remember. But we ended up watching it in her room at night and like in the dark. And we actually, the funny thing about it was I thought it would be a really funny idea if we did like a commentary over it. Not for anything specific, like I didn't plan to upload it or anything. I just thought it would be a funny idea. And we did end up using like our phones to record our voices while we were watching the movie. And we went back, and it was funny like hearing ourselves over reacting to certain parts of the film, because I think I've mentioned this before as well. I have a hard time getting scared of horror movies nowadays. Like maybe when I was a kid I would have been completely, utterly terrified. But I guess, I don't know, something happened that I just got older, and now horror movies are funny to me. They're even funnier than most comedy films because they're taking themselves so seriously. Especially if something is executed poorly. Like if something is executed well, I end up really liking the movie. And, you know, commending whoever worked on it, because it's not easy to get something that looks good or that can actually be pretty scary. Like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, I'm super terrified by this. Oh, my God, Jesus, I can't sleep. But if it's something that I can admit to, okay, yeah, actually, you know what? That's pretty scary. You know, I'm not visibly shaken or anything, but at least I can admit that what they did was good. And when it came to Dead Silence, I feel like it was really a mix of both things. Like, it was a mix of this is so bad it's good, but it's also not bad, you know? It's one of those things. Especially with the twist at the end, which I guess spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. If you want to go watch it, I'd say it's good watching it like at least once. It's one of those movies. Because Billy isn't even like the antagonist of the film. The antagonist of the film is Mary Shaw, who is this spirit of a woman who used to own many, many dolls. In fact, there's like an entire rhyme associated with her. Beware the scare of Mary Shaw. She had no children, only dolls, something like that. And basically, she became a legend, and Billy is one of her children, so to speak. Billy was her favorite child. And the thing was, like, I don't remember if Billy was possessed by Mary Shaw or what it was, but there was like a performance where she would do her ventriloquist act, and Billy would like get a little impatient and have a mind of his own. Like if as soon as they started offending his mother, so to speak, he would awaken and like start telling the kid off. Pretty funny scene. And Mary Shaw in and of herself is a pretty, you know, disgusting and terrifying looking character. I don't know why we didn't draw her. That would have been good, I guess. But there were more iconic villains, I think. And it's funny too, because Billy is like the icon of the films, even though his involvement with the story is it's only like to provide backstory. It's not really like his role isn't too prominent. But I don't remember exactly the events that transpire like in order, but I know that this dude, the main protagonist, has his father and his stepmom, I think, and you know he visits them, and you know he's trying to, I don't exactly, again, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, he's trying to get to talk to them about something, or he's trying to express concerns about something, and you know, oh, rest assured, everything's fine, blah blah blah. At the end of the film, it turns out that the stepmom, which is a character you would never expect it from, because like her role is so like not even important that you don't expect her to be the villain at all. In the twist ending, like she's kind of the bad guy, or she's been possessed by the spirit of Mary Shaw or something. And if you see her, like, you're not supposed to scream, or otherwise she'll take your she'll take your soul. My sister and I got really invested in the story that was like, no, don't scream. But like not to the point where we were scared or anything. It was just really, really fun to watch, and I feel like it is one of those movies where it's more about the fun you have watching it than actually getting scared. And it turns out that throughout the entire movie, the protagonist's dad is actually dead, and the stepmom is actually a ventriloquist who made a doll out of the father, but he looks so realistic, and I don't know. To me, that twist was just really, really cool, and it was like, whoa, because you don't see it coming, and it also doesn't not come out of it doesn't come out of left field. You know, it's because of suspension of disbelief, you kind of do end up being like, oh, okay, you know what? Actually, I buy that in a way, because it has to do with the story that's being told. So again, yeah, like if you, it's a silly movie that doesn't make it not silly just because it has in my opinion, a good twist. That doesn't make it not silly. I still think if you've never seen it, you should give it a watch at some point. But this is the final result of the piece. I did end up liking how it looks, but I do have major issues with it. Again, as I mentioned with Annabelle, when it comes to drawing from real life, I have a hard time with the positioning. I like the mouth, I like the eyes, but I don't like them together because it looks like the mouth is not where it should be or the eyes aren't where it should be, and I think I've come to the conclusion that it's more so the eyes because of the separation between them. I always draw really big eyes, and I always draw them too close together. Billy's eyes should be, I think their size is right, but their placement needs to be a little bit more to the right, and they should be a little bit more separated. But other than that, I do like the way this came out, and it really went to show just how much faster I'm getting at doing these. I think this only took me like an hour and a half, and I don't know if it's because of the simplicity of the design or what, but it was done really quickly, and I think it looks pretty good. I like this piece. Again, could be better. I'm not saying that it's perfect whatsoever. But tomorrow we will be ending Doll Week with some characters that they are dolls, but they're not dolls within their movie. So we are ending on a little bit of a technicality. And we're also using the term horror sort of loosely. It's a horror comedy film. That's not really associated with Halloween. It's more associated with Christmas. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. But I will see you guys tomorrow to finish off Doll Week. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and stay awesome. This is Jar I5, signing off.